Alright, welcome back to the Blender 3 Docwalk. This document is on selecting and selection tools. Alright, so we already kind of talked about this last time, but just to refresh your memory, selecting is by default done with the left mouse button. If we head up to Edit here, go down to Preferences, and yep, key map. Right here, select with mouse button. You can either select with your left or right mouse button. I like my left mouse button. A lot of people like to use the right mouse button to select. There's a lot of reasons for it, but you know, I don't run into the problems a lot of other people apparently run into. So I don't know. I guess it's just kind of what you do, what your preferences are. So for this video, I'm going to whoops, face this up. By the way, if you've got it kind of at a weird angle and you just want to look at it from one particular point of view, if you have got a number pad, 1 looks at it down from the Y axis, 3 from the X axis, and 7 from the top. If you hold Control down and do 1, it's from the other side of the Y-axis, 3 other side of the X-axis, and 7 from the bottom. So just a good way to quickly orient yourself around your project, around whatever object you're working on. But yeah, so I'm just gonna kind of look at it like this, and I'm going to hit Tab to go into my Edit mode. I'm going to come down here to loop cut. So before I loop cut this guy, actually, no, yeah, this is fine. Alright, so I'm going to run a bunch of loop cuts across this guy, and I'm going to do one here, one here, one here, here, over here, 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 and across the other direction as well. I'm going to be doing a few oops, across the top. So let's jump to the top, and we're just going to there we go. Okay, now we're good and ready to go here. Now I'm going to come up here and go to wireframe mode. So it's just going to make this a little bit easier to see. And I'm going to go back to object mode here. Nope, I'm not going to go to object mode. I'm going to stay in edit mode. Alright, so there we go. Our cube's been sliced up several different times, and I'm going to go back to just normal selection here, and we're going to talk about our tools. Alright, first up is the tweak tool. So that is the tool I've already got selected here. It's the top one. It's a little arrow with a kind of the 4-arrowed cross compass sort of shape here. And if we go back to object mode, it selects things, and with other modifier keys you can do a couple other things. So all of these tools, all 4 of them, we've got tweak, select box, select circle, and select lasso. Now if you select the tool itself, it's going to act a little different than if you use the shortcut. So let me show you how this works. So we are in object mode, and I'm simply just selecting this guy here. However, let's fall back to our tweak tool here. If I hit the B shortcut for box select, okay, this is the box select shortcut. I'm going to hit B. It immediately instantiates this kind of location crosshair sort of thing here, right? Now it has no immediate effect on anything. However, if I click and drag, whatever it touches, just simply touching something, I'll just barely get this in there, it will select that entire object. Now if I do the same thing, if I hit B and I want to negate something, I can use the shift and click. So I'm going to hold shift down and just left mouse click like I did before, but with shift being held down, and it's going to deselect that for me. Okay, now the last thing here is I'm going to hit B again for box select. And I'm going to draw a rectangle, but before I let go here, I'm going to hold down Control and Spacebar. And now I can move my entire selection box around. And, you know, at which point I can decide where to plunk it down and then release, and whatever is inside it at that point will be selected. Now, it also acts a little differently if we are inside, or if we are in edit mode. So I'm going to click to deselect everything. And again, I'm going to hit B, and I'm going to drag, and whatever is inside my box is going to be selected. However, it's not going to select the entire object because now we're in edit mode and I am in vertice mode here, which, if you recall, up here we've got these three buttons here for vertices, edges, and faces. Okay, so these are my three select modes when I'm in edit mode. But for now, we're going to stay in vertice mode, and I'm going to hit B and hold down Shift for deselect, and there we go. And it's going to deselect everything I just dragged my box over. Again, we'll go back through the other one, the other box select modification here. So I'm going to hit B. I'm going to draw my rectangle, but I am going to suddenly decide that that's not where I want it. So I'm going to hold down Shift and Spacebar. I'm going to move it around and decide I want to select this corner up here, let go, and it's going to select that. If I hit B, create my box here. Whoops, no, I donked that up. Okay, so now for circle select, the shortcut is simply C on your keyboard, C. So I'm going to tap that, and you'll notice this little circle that has appeared over my cursor. Now when you're in this mode, having brought it up through the shortcut C, the mouse wheel will change the size of your circle here. And what makes this a little different is that whatever I drag this over is going to be selected. It's like you're painting it with selection. So here we go. I'm going to hold my left mouse button down and just drag it across here, and you'll see that it's just everything in its path is getting selected. It's very close to how paintbrushes work and your paint tools work. Okay, now if you want to deselect with the circle select tool here, as long as you've gotten into this mode by hitting the C shortcut, the middle mouse button, just holding that down just like you would with the left mouse button for selecting with this, the middle mouse button is just a deselect paint sort of action here. Now let's paint everything up again really quickly here, and you can also, instead of using the middle mouse button, and just like before, simply holding down Shift and dragging it across your selection area. So Shift and left mouse button will deselect, just like the middle mouse button will. Now, if your mouse wheel is broken and you can't use it, or if you have a mouse for some reason that doesn't have a mouse wheel, you can change your circle size by hitting on your number pad. Okay, not on your keyboard, on your number pad minus and plus, and that will help you iterate through the circle sizes up and down. And lastly, if we go into object mode here, whoops, well, that's fine. Okay, we're gonna hit tab to go into object mode, or not. Nope, we're gonna hit escape first to get out of circle mode, and then we're gonna hit tab to go into object mode. Okay, and we're just going to come over to solid. Now, circle select when you're in object mode, so I'm going to hit C to get us into object or circle select mode. Bring this down a little bit. Unlike box select, if I'm even most of the way into this, it's not selecting my cube. So in object mode, you have to hit, see this little orange dot in the middle? This is the origin of my cube. So you've got to run it over the origin of the object you want to select, and then it will select that object. Okay, so we're going to get out of this by hitting the right mouse button. I'm going to hit tab again to go into edit mode. I'm going to go back to wireframe mode here. Just kind of minus up a little bit here. And now I'm going to use the Lasso Select shortcut. So it's Control right mouse button. So I'm going to hold Control down, hit right mouse button, and you'll see that by holding these two down, I haven't let go of either of them. I'm in lasso mode here. So whatever I end up selecting in whatever crazy order or whatever is going to end up being selected when I release. Now for deselection, it's instead of Control and the right mouse button, it's Control Shift and the right mouse button. So whatever I decide to deselect here will be deselected once I release. And finally, like my box select, if we go ahead and I'm going to hold Control down, right mouse button, get my lasso going. I'm going to make a big loop-de-loop here, and let's say I don't like it there. I want it moved over a little bit. So I'm still holding my Control button down and my right mouse button down. I'm just going to add holding down the space bar. Now I can move my selection lasso to wherever I deem necessary and then release, and that's where it will select. Just a quick, I guess, tip. If we are in object mode, much like let's see here, much like the circle select, holding Control down and using my right mouse button to initiate the lasso here, I can get almost every single little part of this whole thing, but if I don't get the origin in there, it's not going to select anything. I actually have to have the origin selected for it to select the object. Okay, now I am going to jump back into edit mode here. Go back into wireframe mode and deselect everything. Okay, now we're going to talk about selecting modes. This is when, here, let me just get my select box up here. These up here, these are the different selection modes. Okay, we can also access these if I hit N and pull up my sidebar, go down to Tool, and we can see our different selection modes as well here. Likewise, Active Tool over here in our Properties panel are also available. Okay, so let's go back to Tweak here, and I'm going to hit, let's do this with Circle. C. Okay. Actually, I'm going to we're going to do Select Box. We're going to stay with Select Box. Okay, so this first mode is Set Mode, and what this is basically doing is every time I initiate a new selection box, it's just resetting. Okay, it's not adding to it, it's not subtracting from, it's just starting the process all over again. So yeah, so that's set mode. That's pretty typical default kind of mode behavior there. This next one here is extend mode. If I select that, this allows me to simply add to my selection. So I'm going to select that. I want to select that. I want to select that. I want this little part here. I want this here. I want this corner there. I want that there. Okay, so that's extend. That's obviously quite useful in very many different instances. And let's move on here. This is the third one. It is called subtract. You first need something selected before you can use subtract, but yeah, just clicking on that, we can simply, if everything is already selected, I can just kind of nip away at it and take little parts away from it that I don't want selected. So that's subtract mode. And then we've got invert mode, this fun guy right here. This will literally invert whatever I have selected. So let's just quick demo here. I'm going to select this part here, and everything that is not selected will become selected. Everything that is selected will get unselected. Pretty cool, right? I like it. You can also just globally, invert your selection by hitting Control I. So Control, holding it down, tapping I. And lastly here we've got Intersect. Okay, so I'm gonna, well, first before we do that, I'm going to just select this whole thing. We're gonna get a little bit of a different view going here. Bring it down. Okay, now I'm going to change to Intersect mode. All right, and I'm going to drag a line and select half of this. And you'll notice that everything else that was selected has now been deselected. That was outside of my selection box. So we'll do that again. Okay, so it intersects between what is already selected and what your selection rectangle is holding. So whatever it's not encompassing that is selected will be deselected. Whatever it is encompassing that is selected will maintain selected. So, all right, so those are your 5 selection modes. And keep in mind that there are shortcuts for extend, subtract, and intersect. I'll give you a quick demo here. So here I've got my Lasso Selection, the actual tool selected. Okay, so I'm just gonna Lasso select a couple of things. All right, every time I do that, it's doing its own thing. It says brand new reselection, correct? Okay, well, now I'm gonna hold Shift down and Lasso Select, and now that is extended. It's allowing me to extend my selection. Holding Shift down, left mouse click for dragging, select, I'm extending. Okay, now this time I'm going to hold Control down. So holding Control down, left mouse button still, right? Making my lasso, and that is subtracting. I'm subtracting the selection. So now in this instance, I'm just going to actually color the whole thing or select the whole thing. Now I'm going to hold Control and Shift down. Nope, first I'm going to subtract here. Now I'm going to hold Control and Shift down and cut across here. Oops. I want all of it. Oh well, whatever. And let go. And you can see that is doing an intersect sort of a behavior there. So color. So I'll select all of this. Oh my gosh. So I'm going to select all of this here. And now I'm going to hold Control and Shift down and select downwards. And it is just, again, intersect behavior here. All right, well, that's it. That was the selecting and selection tools document. I will see you guys next time as we begin to tackle editors. As usual, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this content, if you found it helpful, please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks again. See you soon.